Welcome. We are glad you have come here to show your love for Wen, Nick, family, and friends. Seeing a loved one pass on from this life to another one is not an easy experience. As we look around this room, we do see the support and love to help us continue on our journey. As time goes on, with the help of each other, we will start to let go of the strong emotions we have today and fade them into joyful memories of the love and life we shared with Wen. My name is Jason Reinhardt, and my friend Nick Laley has been working with and been part of our family since I was about 15 or 16 years old. Wen and Nick have recently also done some work for some of our companies, and we have a retreat center out at Birch Lake. And I have many memories of Nick and Wen working on the many murals and painting the many different theme rooms we have out there, and seeing Wen talk in Chinese, telling Nick he missed a spot where he needs to repaint an area. Wen loved to pinch the big cheeks of our 2-year-old JJ and smiled big every time she would see him. On January 11th of this year, which is exactly a month ago this day, I too experienced the death of someone very close and loved to me as my father. It too was a fairly sudden experience. Perhaps like you, I look back on the situation and I ask, could have I avoided this premature death? Why did I not see the signs? Could have I done more? And after a great Christmas with my father, he left and he was gone for about a week, and he was back in Lloydminster. And we decided to come home a day early. My mom phoned and said, your dad's having chest pains. I'm going to take him to the hospital. Don't worry about it yet. This has happened a couple times. So I just was on standby. I just got home. And she said, I think you better come in. So I got to the hospital. Of course, of all the new protocols, I wasn't able to go in. And she said, he's had a stroke and a heart attack at the same time. The fact he was still alive at that point was incredible, and his tenacity to live. And they said, we're going to airlift him to Edmonton. So I got the code for the airport, and I snuck out onto the tarmac at 3 a.m. in the morning. And I got to see my dad for the last time. And as I walked up to him, I pulled my mask down, and I said, I hear you're looking for a good pilot, because they were going to fly him out. And he said, I sure am. And they took him to Edmonton, and for the next week, he was doing incredibly well. He was in the critical area of the hospital, and they were taking care of him. My mom and my sister were there, and we were sending reports out, and everything was good. And he was quoting phone numbers and deals and the things he had to do that week. And we're thinking he's going to be okay. And the hospital said, wow, he's doing great. We're going to put him down to medium now. And they said, but the conditions have changed after they moved him, and said, we can only see him once every 2 days for an hour. You know, that was a big change. And so they said there was conditions on that, but my mom was able to go see him. And so that was about a Friday night, and then on Sunday he FaceTimed us, my sister and I, and he's looking at me, and for a guy who just had a stroke and a heart attack, he was talking very clear. And he said to me, son, you got to get me out of here, they're going to kill me. And he knew what was going on. And they had changed the care, and there were some issues going on. And the next day I said, Dad, we're going to get you out the next day. I'm going to come and get you. But we had to get a stent in his heart and just get that taken care of before we picked him up. And they said Monday. And I'm like, I'm going to go there and get him. And then they said, oh, no, we changed the date. And so my mom went and seen him and was there for a few hours with him. And everything was fine. She left. 45 minutes later, we're doing another FaceTime call with him. The doctor has the phone, walks into the room and says, I got to go. We got to resuscitate him. So they're working on him, and an hour later, they finally called back and said, your dad has passed away. It was a bit of a shock because he was doing so well and all these things. And so as time goes on, you start reflecting and you start asking questions like I said before, how could have we avoided this? And so it was busy. The Monday he passed away. The Friday we had the funeral. And the Monday after that, I woke up and I just felt like cement. I'm a high energy guy, very excited. And I just felt like cement. And I thought, I'm going to go to the office for 2 hours. just 2 hours, and I'm going to go take some time and rest and just reflect. One of the craziest weeks in years, dealing with his stuff and all of our stuff at the company. And that Thursday night, my wife said, why don't we go to the lake, just get some rest? And I said, sure. And usually we go in different vehicles, but we thought we'll take the van together. And we're driving out there, and of course it's cold and all the snow. And we turn off on the gravel, and I'm looking at the drifts going, I'm in the van. Was that a good idea? And I got a trailer behind me. And I get through the first gate, and we start driving. I'm like, I shouldn't have the trailer on. I'm not going to make the hill, but there's a chance. And the hill's a long ways from the cabin. And we get going, and all of a sudden the van stops just about the top of the hill. And we're 3 kilometers from the cabin. It's 10 o'clock at night. I'm in the same shoes I'm wearing today in honor of Nick. And I'm like, dang, I'm tired. My dad just died. I got to run 3 kilometers, and I get to the cabin, and we finally get everybody back there at midnight. And I walk down the hall to his room, and it's themed as an aviation room. And I just wanted to go in there and just kind of re-experience and some of the things. And I look on the wall, and there's this hanger, and his aviation jacket is there. And I started welling up with emotion. And then I looked over, and I seen his heart pills sitting on the coffee maker. And what had happened is, when he left the lake for that week, he forgot his heart pills. And so it started to, his heart couldn't handle the blood when it got thicker. And so I'm looking at that. It's midnight. I've just been through a crazy week. And I'm starting to tell myself, why didn't I see that? Maybe if I would have seen that, he'd still be here today. So I went to bed, and because my mom was asking the week before, I can't find Dad's pills. Like, where are they? So then, we leave there, and you start looking at that, and then the hospital thing. Why didn't I pick him up? He asked me to pick him up. He was alive. He was coherent. Then we found out they weren't monitoring him at the hospital. They didn't even know he had died. Why wasn't I there? And so in situations like this, we start asking these questions. If I would have just done this, And you know what? Sometimes things in life happen for a reason we don't understand. And so what I learned from that is that I can't blame myself. We were trying, we worked, and the circumstances lined up in a certain way, and the event happened. Everything happens for a reason. And I'm here today to look around to say that there's a lot of love in this room. We need to say goodbye, but we need to remember the love around us and not forget that. Wen was born in China, September 27th, 1962, the second of oldest of 4 sisters. The first 47 years of her life were spent in China, during which time she had a loving son. At age 47, while living in China, she met the adventurous Canadian Nick Laley. After discussing if they should get married, Nick wanted to meet the family. Well, Wen's older sister said she would disown her if she married a Canadian. Wen also said Chinese women cannot take a man home to the family until they know he's the right one. A lot of the family was unsure about Nick, so he said, let's get everyone together in the same room and they can ask me any question. Sitting in the middle between Wen and his translator, Nick was ready to be questioned. I'm sure wearing 2 different shoes at the same time as well. That's probably why they were questioning him at customs. Should we let him in? On the other side of the room was the family peppering questions at Nick through the translator. As the many questions flowed, Nick seen the faces of Wen's family become more relaxed and start to smile. Then Nick said, it's my turn to ask questions. I've decided not to reiterate any of those questions because we all know what Nick is like. After Nick's many funny questions to the family, through the translator, he was in, almost, but... In China, the oldest person in the family is the boss, and they were concerned if Nick married into the family, he would now be the boss of the family because he was the oldest. They agreed he could marry Wen, but said, "You're not the boss of the family." Nick laughed and said, "No problem, all I need is Wen." Nick soon stole her heart and whispered away to the crazy winter climate in Canada in 2013. He was smart enough to bring Wen during the summer, not to shock her too much. Nick wanted to live an endless honeymoon and took her on many traveling adventures around Canada. Rumor has it, during their 11 years together, Nick and Wen traveled around China on 10 different occasions, visiting places like Hong Kong, the Great Wall of China, the Three Gorge Dam, the World Fair, and many other places. Oh yeah, and on another note, the way Nick won over the mother-in-law was his super handy skills. Every time Nick was in China, he would make Wen smile when he would fix things around the house for her mother that had needed repair for many years. When first moving to Lloydminster, Wen told Nick, "Call me Eugene, because that's a great name in China." Nick told her it would be best to stick with Wen. At first, she did not take his advice and told a few people her name was Eugene, and that's how they knew her during her time in Canada. Nick was right. The name Wen did stick after all. Nick asked Wen one time, "Why you marry me?" Nick continued by saying, "I'm bald, I'm not super handsome, and a bit big." Wen looked at Nick and touched Nick's heart and said, "It's your heart." Wen would often say to Nick, "You're the best husband." From that day on, even when shopping, you could see Wen wrapped around Nick's arm and pulled in tight to his chest, knowing he would protect her. I remember being at Nick's house over the years and saying, "Wow, Nick, this place is a remnant of the early 80s. And he would say, he replied by saying, "What are you talking about? I haven't renovated it since the 70s. With the help of Wen, the house was fixed up to a modern day decor, including the beautiful new countertops in the kitchen that Wen picked out. Another time when Wen was in Revelstoke with most of Nick's family, they thought it would be fun to go for a ride on the pipe roller coaster. And they had a center stick to control the brake. Wen was the third last to ride the single cart, holding on to the center brake, moving only small strides at a time. Getting impatient, Nick was behind her and rammed her cart continually to get her to the bottom. When she finally made it to the bottom, the family asked the roller coaster conductor, "Was that the slowest run ever?" He replied, "Nope, the second slowest." If it was not for Nick playing bumper carts, Wen would have broken the record for the slowest cart ever. Once again, another adventure with Jim and Judy Reinhardt, my parents, going for a gator ride, and lo and behold, Nick and Wen were game for the adventure through the trees. Then Jim hits the brakes and says, "It's time to teach Wen how to shoot." Back in China, they cannot own guns, but here Wen was up to give it a shot, and no one could hide the big smile on Wen's face. Wen won everyone over. Everywhere she went with her never-ending smile, and everyone loved her. Many experienced her good nature, sense of humor, and caring demeanor. Oh yeah, forever the poser. Wen loved to be in pictures, and if Nick took bad pictures, she would say, "No good," and say, "We need to do that again." 95%, I did the stats, Nick. Nick was thrilled when Wen started to work with him most every day at the different job sites and jobs he would be contracted to do. Wen quickly picked up on the skills, able to do painting, drywall work, patching, flooring, and Wen had a great attention to detail, soon telling Nick things he could do better. No job was ever done until Inspector Wen had reviewed the project. They were a great team, spending many long working days together. In fact, Nick called her a machine because she was there to get the job done right to the end. Some of her local Chinese friends included Sonia, Flora, Jessica, Joseph, Yi, Ying, and they danced. Might not have been a normal activity in China, but in Canada, Wen loved dancing with her Chinese friends. Well, Crystal made a special carrot cake with cream cheese icing for a treat for Wen. She sat down for dinner, and it was time for dessert. Crystal pulled out the carrot cake from the oven, all toasty, and put the cream cheese on top. Wen asked, "What that?" She was very intrigued because it looked so different. There was carrots inside with white stuff on top, and it was warm. And you know Crystal, very tenacious, that's a nice word for many other things, would not give up until Wen tried just a little piece. So Wen tried a piece. She had one bite, and wow, she was excited about it. How you make, she says. I showed her the recipe, and I showed her the oven and how to make it. Wen was shocked to see the oven in our house. She really didn't know what it was for. I said, "It heats up and cooks food." She made me smile. It's surprising how we take for granted the little things that we truly have. Nick taking Wen on another adventure, they made their way to Yorkton. She said repeatedly, "No people." She kept saying it, "No people." She couldn't believe there's no people around everywhere, and you could see for miles. Wen pointed to the ditch saying, "Wasted land, no growing." Apparently in China, everything gets utilized in the ditch. She had a wiener roast that weekend, and apparently that was new for her and very exciting. Driving into the night, Nick and Wen stopped on the side of the road. While standing on the road, Wen said to Nick, "Look, look," while pointing in one direction. Nick asked, "What you see? The flat land?" "No," Wen says again, pointing. "That." Nick asked, "The sunset?" "Yes." It was the first time Wen had seen a true prairie sunset. Wen's legacy will be to live every day with the eyes of a child, to see everything like it was the first time, to love the people around us like it was our first date. It's a lesson to all of us to see things again and enjoy them like it was the first time. Today is a reminder that every day is the next day to our last one. A reminder to ask the questions to those close to us we always wanted to ask. A reminder that life is short and we need to ask for forgiveness for those things we've done wrong to those closest to us. A reminder to say something kind or loving to those around us every day. When you were a bright light to many of us here on earth, may you shine just as bright in heaven. We're going to take a few moments now if anybody wants to come up and say a few words.
First of all, I'm deeply saddened and shocked at Wen's passing, and my deeply sympathy for Nick and Wen's family in Canada and our family in China. Wen was a very kind, hearted lady who loved to cook, get friends together for a party, and treat us just like family. Very generous with sharing her wonderful cooking. Sometimes we got phone call or texting, said, Yi, Flora, May, or Wei Ming, or me, come get some dumplings and buns, give your daughter, or I left some Chinese chives, just come together. Always thought of another, give to you. One day we drove together, we cooked together at Meisu's home. She cooked the wraps and they turned out so awesome. And she said, "Oh, today I cooked the wraps so successfully. we said, yes, that's just wonderful, tastes so good. And she said, oh, because the pan, because Mei Su had a good pan. Great job cooking it, but would not take credit. She did a great job. We invite to join our dance group to celebrate together for Canada Day and be in the local parade. It was the first time she ever danced. As she learned the dance, she grew to love it. And she took this dancing very seriously and took the time to learning everything. She put her full heart into it and was so excited to perform. A friend of mine, he said to me, there was a lady that was smiling throughout the whole perform, from beginning to the end. You know what? That lady was Wen. She was so proud. Wen liked to do things fast. For example, when and I drove to BC for a girls' trip, she would always tell me, go fast, go fast. And she seriously watched the road for me. Oh, now you can go. Go, 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 go. Because she's not driving. However, when she is the one in control, she is so slow. When told me about the mountain path ride and her fear going down the rail, giving her the control to the brakes, it's a bad idea. Nick had to push her down the hill in his cart as his daughter was yelling, go Wen, go Wen! Let go the brakes. And Wen was very outgoing with a little push. She had a mere fear of the water. She didn't like to get wet. So this was out of her control zone. One time we were invited to a friend's lake cabin where we were offered to go sea-dooing and tubing. I had to convince her with a little push to go for a ride on the sea-doo. And that was my turn to tell her, go, go, go. After the ride, she was surprised how much fun it was and was proud of herself. The tube ride was out of the picture because of no wet. I'm happy for all those great memories, but very sad for the loss of the great friend. My heart is hurting. When rest in peace, our dear friend. We all love you. At the end, I'd like to say some words with Mandarin. 文英，一路走好，在天堂也做一个快乐的人。Thank you.
Death is never the end, eh? It's just a shift of the reality that we're in. Yes, yes. Yeah, from the first breath we take, eh? That's our journey. And everyone I've experienced, every one of my beloved friends that has departed from me in one way or the other, has always had a lesson, has always had a message for me as well. And it's been my honor. I thank you, Nick, again for bringing Wen into my life and into all of them here. We really, really appreciate that. Thank you, Nick. She was an exceptional person. And as I listened to all the things that are already being said, pretty much repeating it, even when I wrote out for my own self, for my own healing, on how Wen affected my life. The one word that kept coming out, I don't really want to repeat all the stories because I have the same stories and it's beautiful. I love it. Wen was obviously a person of just pure integrity and authentic. You know, she never appeared different from one person to the next. She was just Wen, and that's love it. I love it. So I think Wen is a very brave woman as well. I really admired her when I met her. Even before I met her, Nick showed us the wedding pictures, and I was just like, wow, you got yourself a beauty here. And she was very photogenic, as you speak of. But there was, again, a beauty that really showed in Wen, and just the authenticity of her. So the bravery that I admired in her was just how she did step out at that stage of her life. You know, I think about it as a woman, as whatever, all those things in play, going to a completely separate country, a different country with different traditions, and all that plays up to be a new language, new everything, and taking that on at the stage of life that she did. I was just so proud to know her that way, and, you know, to know that how she, like I said, just stepped out. That was just such bravery that I see in people like that. And she was good. And the main word that I keep hearing is care. I keep hearing care. That she was such a caring person, and she cared so much. And that's great, a good heart. She lived life to her fullest. And it seems like everything that she did it well as well. She had this I don't know, I don't want to call it perfection, excellence within her, that everything she did, she was smart, she was beautiful. And her smile was the best. And Wen and I had a lot of language barrier stuff going on, but what we did have, we had a lot in common, I know that, and we were able to share it because it's a different language together. And the thing that I know about Wen was she was always about fun. She always wanted to play, and she had the smile for it that showed the joy that she had. So today also I just wanted to say a few words to the friends that are here that are hurting. And some of these words are from Rumi. I don't know if you know him. He's a 13th century poet. And it says, I love my friends, and not with my heart, for it can stop, and not with my mind, because I can forget. But I love them with my soul, because they'll always be there. And others may walk your journey with you, but they can never do it for you. Change yourself, not the world. And love says you are worthy. And always remember, you are braver than you believe, you're stronger than you seem, and you're smarter than you think. And you're twice as beautiful as you've ever imagined. Thank you. You be you.
This next letter is from Trevor's second wife, Kat. Sister wife. Sister wife says, Dear Nick and family, I met Wen shortly after her and Nick married, and she joined him here in Canada. I can't imagine her first reaction upon entering the very skilled carpenter and multi-trade Laley bachelor pad. I can still imagine that place. I have no comparison to where Wen lived and grew up. How amazing to be able to see the trips you've traveled home to China. Happy for some upgrades until the real Canadian winter hits. Being a bit apprehensive in new surroundings, I like to imagine Wen and Nick honed some of the language barrier by working on his inefficient kitchen. Husband, need hot water, rice pot, all day always. Husband, move tools, no kitchen. Wen was enthusiastic to interact and meet her new Canadian family, and maybe the bizarre extended bonus family. In no time, she was hosting us, cooking authentic Chinese dishes. Always different, always amazing. She rolled up her sleeves and thankfully started pitching out her incredible dumplings. Have I mentioned her dumplings yet? Black market tradable. Wen was very proud of her Canadian grandchildren, and was present for all of their victories. Every graduation, birthday, and celebration, she always brought the favorite 3-fruit white cake and captured tons of photos. Once Wen started condescending Nick, he actually started doing some serious renovations to the Lely Bachelor homestead, and we have seen remarkable transformation in the last few years. Wen had also watched and taken an interest in the finishing work that Nick does for clients. She was very helpful in the last few years working with him on finishing jobs. For as long as I've known Nick, he has always been fair, kind, and straightforward man. For a person to leave home for a foreign land is not an easy feat. But I always welcome Wen as part of my extended family. I hope she felt the same. Godspeed. Love you, Wen. Kat. Thoughts of Wen, written by Mindy. Wen joined our family in the summer of 2010, and after many trips to China, Nick was finally able to bring her home as his wife in August 2013. He made sure we did it at summer so she didn't scare her away from our crazy Canadian winters. Right away, she became one of us. She was always wanting to learn about what I was cooking, tasting things as we went, telling husband to buy this spice or that. I loved to see the smile on her face. Our new mom, as Trevor would put it, brought with her so much warmth, laughter, and love, completing our family. The excitement and happiness in Nick, having that special person to share all the crazy adventures in his life, giving us a feeling of comfort. She had never really done much cooking back in China, but dove right into making traditional dishes for us to try. Oh my, the food she made was so good. Thoughts of her going into her freezer with her coat on backwards and oven mitts on still brings a smile to my face. She would look at me and say, "Too much cold." So smart to bring her in the summer, Nick, so smart. She was always excited to join in at family get-togethers, eating special meals together, playing games, and don't forget her love of sweets. Wen would never pass up a good piece of cake or even a second or a third. We had so many adventures together, time spent in BC going on the pipe coaster, camping, axe throwing, virtually reality games, time spent at the lake, quadding and boating. Trevor had to carry her from the boat to the shore because the water was too cold. The one time we took her in the boat, she was scared to dive. I told her not to worry. Trevor would be right beside her with the biggest smile on her face. She pushed the throttle right to full, and I almost toppled right off the back of the boat. She always impressed me. As a woman, she could do it all. I would always tell her, anything they can do, we can do better. She laughed and agreed. I much smart, husband not so smart. We're going to miss her and cherish the memories. She was a wonderful wife, mother, grandmother, and friend. When we are all heartbroken that you have left us, we will continue our epic Lely adventures and keep you in our thoughts every step of the way. Forever in our hearts, Mindy, Trevor, Sam, and Devin. From the Muzio family, we'd like to send our deepest condolences to the family. Losing a loved one in any circumstance is never easy. We are so honored to have not only just met Wen, but we're able to spend a few Christmas dinners and New Year's together with her and her husband, Nick. Although English was her second language, she was always made an effort to be part of the conversation. One Christmas evening, our family played a game called Things, which everyone writes down an answer to a question, and then we take turns guessing who wrote which answer. Being adults, you can only imagine the context of the answers were. The dirtier, the better. Gwen picked Nick. She rocked it and ended up winning the game by when she put a G on there. Understanding everyone was guessing who wrote what. She really amazed me. She played Just Dance with us, and overall always had a good time at our house for Christmas and New Year's. A few years went by and I'd not seen her. Nick and her were visiting Crystal's family and my friends, and I came by and I was so excited to see Wen. I jumped out of the car to say, "Wen, how are you? Nice to see you." Her response, "Hi. Oh, you got fat." Taken by surprise, I had a good laugh. She didn't mean no harm, just spoke the truth. I had gained some weight since last seeing her. After that, I scarfed down her amazing dumplings she made. We will always have good memories of her and are saddened by her passing. Rip Wen, the Museo. Museos. There's no time to say goodbye, dear mother. Mom, I didn't expect that the first letter I wrote you was to say goodbye to you in this way. At the moment, my mood is mixed: grief, resentment, understanding, self-blame. I feel very sad because I lost a close relative who has nurtured me. I feel resentful because you left me without leaving any last words. I can understand that you chose to live in that way. But you are free now. But you left behind is deep remorse that your son wants to support you. From childhood to adulthood, we, mother and son, somehow lack communication and often quarreled. Maybe our lives were not satisfactory. Until the appearance of Nick into your life, you didn't have as much luster. I also believe being with Nick, you were very happy and living a loving life. At this moment, I also feel that is very untrue. It seems that you're still waiting to chat with us in Canada. I'm still waiting for your concern and greetings. Your smile is still emerging in front of me. Mom, I still have a lot to say to you. Because of my poor expression and missed the opportunity here, I ask for your forgiveness. Please forgive my impatience. Please forgive me for not caring enough for you. Forgive me for not good enough words. Forgive me for my selfishness when you needed help the most. I want to tell you, my life is also improving. I've become more self-motivated. I've learned to cook during the epidemic period. You haven't had time to taste my cooking. I found more ways to make money. My life becomes more independent. I will become more excellent in the future. I will have a family and I will have children. Your bright smile still appears in front of me. In Canada, you have so many good relatives and friends. Nick and his family are so warm and friendly to you. We can only pray for you. What we can do is to continue to live a good life with your beautiful hope. When I miss you, I hope you come to my dream to meet me and share your happiness. Here, I also want to say to Nick, his family, and my mother's friends, thank you very much for your care and your help for my mother for so many years. Life will continue. I hope, Nick, you won't be too sad. We should all be full of hope for life. After all, life is still so beautiful. There are still many places we haven't visited, many delicious food we haven't tasted, and many scenery we haven't seen. After the epidemic is over, I will come see you. Thanks again. Finally, I want to say, Wen, you will always be my good mother, your excellent son. Dulkey family. When Wen came to Canada, the first place she came to was our home in Kamloops. It was quite enjoyable to see her reaction to everything around. The size of our house, to our open land, the lack of people everywhere, and how much stuff we have. Her first shopping experience was our local Chinese grocery store in Kamloops. The people in the store were so friendly, and Wen was so happy to have a conversation with someone that spoke her language. They talked about Canada, China, ingredients, where to find stuff. It made her happy to understand someone. It was nice for us as well because she could translate back to us what Wen was saying. So we were all having a conversation in two different languages. 2 years later, Wen and Dad came to visit and went back to the Chinese grocery store. And as soon as we walked in, the employees remembered us and said, "Oh, hi." Had this huge conversation with Wen like they had just seen each other. Wen was so surprised someone would remember her from 2 years ago. Wen's passing was unexpected, but there's no doubt the joy she brought to Nick's life. Your life was a blessing. Your memory was a treasure. You are loved beyond measure and missed beyond words. The Dalkey family. Right now, we're going to take a couple minutes just to watch a few video clips of Wen.
Almost heaven, West Virginia, Blue Ridge Mountains, Shenandoah River. Life is old there, older than the trees, younger than the mountains, growing like a breeze. Country roads, take me home to the place I belong. West Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me home. Country roads, all my memories gather round her. Miner's lady, stranger to blue water. Dark and dusty, painted on the sky. Misty taste of moonshine, teardrop in my eye. Country roads, take me home to the place I belong. West Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me home. Country roads, I hear her voice in the morning hours. She calls me. The radio reminds me of my home far away. Driving down the road, I get a feeling that I should have been home yesterday. Yesterday, country roads, take me home to the place I belong. West Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me home. Country roads, country roads, take me home to the place I belong. West Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me home. Country roads, take me home. Country roads, take me home. Country roads.
躺下去，上路去，別太黏掛這裏。倘若這絕症讓你太泄氣萎衰，我願抱你過最後行程，背上你恐懼，為你平復情緒。舊日絆腳的顧慮，你終可跨過去。現在踏進遠方的天國裏，從十到生趣。聖地裏，誰要 上山是水，從來沒失敗和沒有不對，只知寬恕沒鬥爭，沒有苦澀美麗，沒有速度，緩慢裏安睡，無痛地醉。這地太熱愛敵對，並各自有堡壘，要為勝利拼命去作黑眼跑腿。今天你已算責任完成，贖了上世的罪，賀你全身的退。道別俗世的顧慮，再不需掉眼淚，便再踏進遠方的天國裏，要住進山居於聖地裏，誰要上山是誰？從來沒失敗，從來沒有不對，只知寬恕沒鬥爭，沒有世界之最，沒有速度，緩慢裏安睡，無痛記舉。縱每晚會因你已別離，心絞痛，總為你達到極快樂有甜蜜軌道。廣闊地裏，誰要上山是誰？從來沒失敗，從來沒有不對，只知寬恕沒鬥爭，沒有苦澀美麗，沒有速度，寧靜裏安睡，含笑你醉。
I sit and wait. Does an angel contemplate my fate? Do they know the places where we go when we're gray and old? 'Cause I have been told that salvation lets their wings unfold. So when I'm lying in my bed, thoughts running through my head, and I feel that love is dead, I'm loving angels instead. And through it, oh, she offers me protection, a lot of love and affection, whether I'm right or wrong, and down the waterfall, wherever it may take me, I know that life won't break me when I come to call. She won't forsake me. I'm loving angels instead. When I'm feeling weak and my pain walks down a one-way street, I look above and I know I'll always be blessed with love. And as the feeling grows, she breathes flesh to my bones. Oh, when love is dead, I'm loving angels instead. And through it all, she offers me protection, a lot of love and affection, whether I'm right or wrong. And down the waterfall, wherever it may take me, I know that life won't break me. When I come to call, she won't forsake me. I'm loving angels instead. And through it all, she offers me protection, a lot of love and affection, whether I'm right or wrong. And down the waterfall, wherever it may take me, I know that life won't break me. When I come to call, she won't forsake me. I'm loving angels instead.
I've died every day waiting for you, darling. Don't be afraid. I have loved you for 1,000 years. I love you for 1,000 more. Time stands still. Beauty in all she is. I will be brave. I will not let anything take away what's standing in front of me. Every breath, every hour has come to this.
Nick, as the extended family goes home, there will be some tough moments. There will also be your friends and family here whenever you need them. Remember to reach out. Trevor, Mindy, Crystal, and Scott, your father many times has told me how proud he is of you. I've heard many great stories about you from Nick, and I can see in his eyes how much he loves you all. Wen, we love you. We will see you in heaven someday. At this time, the family will take this opportunity to say the last goodbyes to Wen and proceed out this way. And if the rest of the people in here want to do the same, they can say their last goodbyes and meet the family at the back. We love you, Wen.
But the feeling's overwhelming, it's much too strong. Can I lay by your side next to you? I'll take care of you. I don't want to be here if I can't be with you tonight. I'm reaching out to you. Can you hear my call? This hurt that I've been through, I'm missing you like crazy. Yeah. You told me not to cry when you were gone, but the feeling's overwhelming, it's much too strong. Can I lay by your side next to you? And make sure you're alright. I'll take